Hello, 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 and welcome to 20 Years with a Narcissist. I'm your host, Shakira, and I would like to start with words of affirmations. You are whole, you are complete, you are enough. You are strong, you are brave, you are resilient. You are guided, you are protected, and you are safe. And this here is a safe space. Today's episode is 10 common patterns of trauma bonded relationships. I'm going to start off with the first five. One would be justifying abusive and invalidating behavior. For example, your mate yells at you and says, "It's your fault I'm yelling at you because you made me do it." My narc used to always tell me whenever I cried because he would crush my spirits so well that I would cry. And his rebuttal was, "You making yourself cry. I ain't even do nothing to you. That's you. You crying cause you want to cry. Cause why would somebody cry just because they want to cry? Why do you think that your words aren't powerful enough to break down my spirits in a way that'll make me cry? No, you're the one making me cry. But when we're in these type of toxic relationships, we validate it. We make it, we reason it away. We allow ourselves to accept the verbal, mental abuse that someone talking down to you in that manner does. A perfect example, when I reverted to Islam in 2015, I took my Shahada, and the attire that we would wear, the garbs, I would put on, and I actually had, a seamstress who made them for me. And, I have a shape, I'm not a stick figure. And I would get the overgarments that would be, they call it an A line. So it literally was shaped like an A. So it came in a little bit at the top, and then it's, flared out down the bottom. And when I would put those on, being able to see my breast shape in any form, or my hips, even though it flared out at the bottom, my hips, which I don't have much of, but I always, usually had me a little booty back there. And if he could see that shape in any way, he called me a harami mommy. I don't know if y'all ever heard that term, but haram means, forbidden or sinful. And a mommy, I'm a female, so it just kind of went together. It rhymed: haram, mom, harami, mommy. And, why you got them overgarments on? You looking like a harami mommy. Out here looking like a harami mommy. And I was so appalled because I was like, first of all, I just became Muslim. Like, I'm just now learning the attire and what's most appropriate to wear. And here you are attacking me, belittling and degrading me, making me feel lesser than, because you can see my shape in some type of way. Because as the narcissist that you are, you don't want anybody to look at me in a flattering manner in any way, shape, or form. My whole body is for you and your eyes alone. So cover it up as much as you possibly can, so can't nobody else see it and or want it. And that's pretty much what that was. Number two, believe in the future faking. He says he'll marry you. Oh, babe, now it's just not the right time. I got to get my money up. I got to get my finances in order. You know what I'm saying? Aren't you in school? You got to finish school. And then once you finish school, you actually got to get your career going. Like, well, marriage can wait. We'll get there. We'll get there. Or say you just now starting off, or maybe you're like a year in and you feel like, it's time for us to move in with each other. Like, I love you. And they're like, no, now's not the time. That's why it's called future faking, because they, this is something that they want to push as far in the future as they can, so they can continue to live how they want to live, and not how what society says, is the proper time or the appropriate time to move in or get married or even just engaged. You know what I mean? Just commit to me and tell me that you actually want to be here and you want to stay here long term. No, I will not give you the satisfaction. You know what I'm saying? So one of I had three narcs, y'all. The one that I'm talking about for 20 years. It was the one after him, and then my most recent one. So we'll call him the middle narc, the narc in the middle. He, this is the situationship that we were in. First of all, in the beginning, it was like, what are we doing? Because of course it started off with sex. That's all it was about, because that's all I wanted. After coming out of a 20-year toxic relationship, I just was like, these niggas. I was like, forget these men. You know what I mean? I'm good off y'all. You know what I'm saying? I'm good off y'all. I'm going to use y'all how y'all use me. How y'all get what y'all want from me, and then, keep it moving with yourself. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. What they call it, everybody has their whole phase. I would consider that mine to a degree. I can still count how many I had on one hand, but, and this is over the course of some years, but that still is what I would consider that to be. It was a phase. And within that phase, the second narc came about. And of course, with it starting off as sex and he feeling like, well, I already got the goods. Like, I'm already getting the top tier thing that I could actually get from you. So why would I, even enter into a relationship with you, let alone marry you? For what? You already doing everything I need you to do. But like, I used to go to his house and I would cook, I would clean, I would do the laundry, make up the bed. I mean, just all the things a girlfriend and or wife would do with no title and no commitment there. So, eventually, yes, I did fall in love with them. And it was like, okay, what are we doing here? And it's like, eventually it got to, we're dating. Because it wouldn't even be that at first. It was like, no, what you mean? We kicking it. You know what I mean? Be chilling. We good. What you mean? Like, why put a title on it, pretty much? And I'm like, yeah, nah, that's not going to work for me. So it was like, okay, all right, we dating. And then when dating wasn't enough, it was like, all right, you my girl. Or I actually started to slide off. It was like, all right, you know what? And we just dating, and I'm going to weigh my options. I'm going to be over here and over there too, because I can do what I want just like you are, right? So, but he didn't like that too much. So it was like, all right. Let me at least call her my girl. To the point that he actually showed up at my mom's house Lord, at my crib, where my mom opened the door. My mom was my built-in babysitter, y'all. She held me down. So when I would be outside, she would be in the crib watching the kids for me. So he showed up, and was like, yeah, Shakira here? And my mom like, who you? Who you? Meaning, I never even told her, too much about him, because we ain't nothing. So you're not even important enough for me to tell my family about. Like, for what? We're not even together. So she was like, I'm her boyfriend. So it would be like, a boyfriend. Oh yeah, well, she not here, but I'll let her know you stopped by. So when I did come home and my mom told me about this, it was like, say what? Now, no, I live in Philly. He lived in Jersey. So you came across the bridge to come find Shorty, because I slid off, because you got me messed up if you think you just gonna be getting my golden yams and don't even want to claim me. What we talking about? You know what I mean? But he gave me the most future faking out of the three narcs. He gave me the best of the future. Yeah, I mean, come on, we gonna end up together. I mean, 9 times out of 10, we gonna end up together. Like, what? Like, it was just like, no, you know what I'm saying? These are just words, and I don't feel like you mean them. So it would be easy for me to slide off from them, but sex was so good, I always held myself back. Damn it, how did I get back here? Until I really, realized my worth and was like, okay, and that was literally this year. January this year was the last time I dealt with him. Because I was just like, I'm tired of feeling like a piece of meat, Yes, I'm getting what I want out the deal. Yes, it feels amazing, but it's just not enough. I want something real and genuine, so I was done with the future faking. Number 3, common patterns of trauma bonded is experiencing chronic conflict, which I absolutely had with my 20-year narc. We would have the same fights all the time, and mostly about him cheating. He would try to flip the script on me. You know how guilty parties do. Try to make you seem like the bad guy or the one doing something wrong, because they know darn well that they're in the wrong. You know what I'm saying? And Now they want to make you feel bad about anything that you do. You know what I'm saying? So, on my end, any type of argument or debate would be me just being too friendly with other people. You know what I mean? Men, for the most part. He had his fair share of not wanting me to be friends with certain females. I had a very best friend who he just was like, why are you friends with her? Like, get her out of here. And then another one who came after her, it was just like he couldn't stand her guts because she gave me great advice. She was helping me see and understand my worth. And it was like, girl, you know what I'm saying? He ain't it. And, at that time, couldn't nobody tell me nothing about him, though. Couldn't nobody. I hear y'all, and I believe y'all even. It's just, I love that man. I love him on a level that I can't even explain, and I don't want to, nor am I was probably equipped, but I didn't know how to utilize the tools to, be done with him. I just couldn't do it. I don't know. I want to say I wasn't strong enough, but maybe that was, I just wasn't knowledgeable enough. I didn't have enough in the forefront of my conscious mind to be like, yeah, nah, we not dealing with this. He tripping. Like I said, I would very easily, break up with him because that's a perfect, underlying statement under experiencing chronic conflict. Breaking up, then making up. Break up, make up, break up, make up. The longest we went without our breakup was 7-8 months before he slid his way back in, and I opened the door right on back up and was like, okay, But it would be so heartbreaking, reconnecting with him to the point that I would literally cry upon the first intimate, session that I would have with him. Like, Shakira, what are you doing? Why are you letting him touch you? He gave you STDs. You left him because he burnt you. And you going to let him put that thing back inside of you? What? Woo! This narcissism thing is hell on earth, baby. When I tell you, the way that they penetrate you psychologically, emotionally, and really have a complete hold upon you, because the fact that I can talk about it right now and just be like in awe of how I even allowed myself to deal with that type of human being or being, is mind-boggling. It's baffling. I done did other, guest appearances on other podcasts, and the comments, man, they be eating me up. Like, nah, she liked it. She kept going back. He can have her back right now, because when you tell this type of story and it's like, wait, you went back to that, or you allowed him to come back, or you still dealt with that for 10 more years after the first baby or two that he had on you, like, it just speaks volumes on your self-esteem, on how you view yourself, your self-worth, not knowing or realizing that you are enough and that you're whole and complete without this individual, and that you don't need them, and that they're not worthy to be in your space because you're awesome. That's why he keep coming back, because you might not see it, but the narc knows how awesome you are. They know. That's why you become their favorite source of supply, which we'll get to that because that's on the list. Number 4 is characterizing a relationship as magical or metaphysical. I want to say I can't give a direct, example to that statement right there, but something in correlation could be every time my phone rang and, I just wanted it to be him. It's like a fantasy. It's like a fantasy. I talked about the Beauty and the Beast effect that Dr. Ramani created in her Pillars of Narcissism. How we want to believe that one day they're just going to stop being this beast and all of a sudden turn back into the prince that we want them to be. And it's just not realistic. It's not really, it's very magical, very, it's very much so a facade. And you don't want to leave that magical world. You want to stay there forever. The good times are so good that you allow the bad times to not be so bad. And it's just wrong. It's not okay. It's not good. It's nothing good about it. So yeah, we got to get out of that realm of thinking that this is just, oh, I've been swept off my feet and this is the love of my life and I'm going to spend the rest of my life with him even though he treats you like garbage. Yeah, nah, we're done with that. Number 5, fearing what would happen if the relationship ends. So I'm gonna give you a couple examples because when I came across them, it just elated me in so many ways, on so many levels, and made me realize like this podcast is really for good reason. And I pray that I'm able to reach every person who is currently being inflicted by this narcissistic abuse, those who were in it and got out, who need to tell their story. I would love to have them as guests. And those who are looking for a way out, and they know and understand it to a degree, but it's like, how am I supposed to untie myself from this human being when we're so intertwined? So my first example is I was in a hospital, and this lady was next to me, and she was talking about how her husband divorced her, and she said she loved him so much that she did not know what to do. Like, she did not think that she would ever love another human being as much as she loved this man, right? And when she finally got to the part where she said she wanted to kill herself, I think she actually tried, is when I realized she was with a narcissist. Now, it was one thing to, be in a relationship with another person and y'all try and you realize it just doesn't work out. It's not going to work out, where one loves the other, but the other one just really doesn't, not so much, but it's another when a narcissist penetrates you and psychologically owns you on such a deep level that once they're done with you and they decide they're going to discard you and move on somewhere else, that you feel like you're dying on the inside without them. Now, that's one thing I can say I didn't really have. Like, honestly, when I would depart from my narc, it felt like a weight was lifted up off my shoulders. Like, I felt free. You know what I'm saying? I felt like, oh my goodness, I don't have to think about or worry about that person anymore, walking on eggshells, feeling like I did something wrong, not getting the love that I want and deserve from this person that I give all my love to. So, you know what? It just felt like it was so freeing to not be in a relationship with my narc. But because the history was there and the love was still there and we were still soul tied on some level, when he would come crawling back, because he would beg to differ. I ain't never come crawling back to you. You're mad. Because not once did I ever come in your direction. Once I broke up with him, I packed up all my stuff and moved. Or if I packed him up and pushed him out, I never came calling him back. Hey, baby, so you miss me yet? Like, what? Like, name a scenario where I came back to you. That never happened. It was always him coming back to get his source of supply. And me not, knowing any better on a deep enough level, because consciously and hearing it from all my loved ones saying you deserve better, consciously on that level I knew, but on the deep enough level of knowing my worth and what I deserve was not there, which is what allowed me to keep letting him back in. But I almost wish I had like a card, which I am going to create some type of pamphlet or something that I can hand out to people that I hear over here, like, Miss, you were in love with a narcissist. She may be clueless as to what that even is, or that she was penetrated by this being that, to help her understand why she even felt like that about him. Why you even felt suicidal, because you felt like you needed him. Another example was an episode of Law and Order I just watched the other day. The man, oh man, he was a demon, man. He was one of the worst of them. He would actually get foreign exchange students from other countries. They would, he would pay for their visa for them to come over as students and house them. He had a big house. He was rich. Most narcs are very successful, very well off. And he had the funds and the means. He had a wife, and the wife was this passive woman who just allowed him to do what he wanted. So he was literally defiling these children. It would come over as teenagers, as young as 13 to about 16 or so. And this one particular set of sisters, they were from Italy, and he brought them over student visas and literally brainwashed and coerced them into believing that their own father back in Italy molested them when they were 4 years old, and that they need to put him in jail so that then he would have like full custody or rights over these girls, and the dad would be locked up with no way to do anything about it. And the mom, I don't know, they didn't zoom in on, what the mom's deal was, because they actually called themselves like shunning their own mom, thinking that, so you let this happen? You let dad do this to us? You were there. There's no way you didn't know. Come to find out, with further investigation, they found a script, or they realized that they were both reading off of a script, both the sisters, that literally verbatim, I heard his flip-flops walking down the hallway, and I knew he was about to come in the room and get on top of me at 4 years old. Not that it doesn't happen. There are abusers out here who, molest and rape children all the time. It's a real cruel and unusual world that we live in. And they recited this script so often that it embedded in their psyche on a level that they believed it. It created a core belief that, oh yes, my dad. So they went back to Italy and as a witness that my dad, and got their dad locked up. The way that the younger sister that was only 13 said that this narcissist, this demon, convinced her to believe that her father molested her was by putting his fingers inside of her while telling her, I love you, and your dad molested you. Let me show you how. And just know that I actually love you and care about you, and I'm going to protect you. Because the emotions and the feelings that any sexual encounter brings up, it leaves a lasting impression. Which is why if you fall in love with a narc and the sex is outrageously good, which it usually is, it's even easier for them to have a hold on you. Because for the most part, you want to feel those very, very good feelings. If it makes your whole body feel, you got serotonin and dopamine that's being released when you have sex. If somebody's speaking words into you while giving you this amazing feeling that you can't help, even when you're younger and you feel like some part of you is like, this is wrong, this is not okay, it's still psychologically damaging on a very deep level. Sex is a perfect tool for a narcissist to use to have their grips on, and I mean literally own you. And that's what he did with these two sisters. So once, Olivia Benson, because this is SVU I'm talking about, broke the case and helped the girls understand and realize that y'all been brainwashed. This man abused y'all and brainwashed y'all. And if he was able to do that to a couple of teenagers, how do you think the wife was affected over decades of being with this man? They go to arrest him and he's like, I never hurt any of them. What we had was beautiful. He considered it beautiful. He was loving them girls, okay? He wasn't hurting them in no type of way. Y'all tripping. It was amazing in his sick, twisted mind. They said, but you have a wife. What about your wife? He said, she had her day. She had, her time is up. She's an old biddy now. I gotta go get me some young tenderonis. What I'm gonna do with her? She's old news. So she's in they got her in the, what is it called? The interrogation room. And they're asking her, so you knew about this? She said, yeah, I mean, he took the doors off the hinges so that I could watch. He said, the old bitch is going to watch the new bitches. I mean, he was sick, but, what was I going to do without him? The fool did not want to get locked up, so he jumped off the roof and fell to his death. So now this woman is sitting in an interrogation room like, what am I supposed to do now? I don't, what am I supposed to do? Oh my God. In her 50s or something. Because he literally owned her. Mentally, emotionally, psychologically. She belonged to him. And she could not imagine her life without this man. So she decided to put up with all of his sickness. Even knowing how sick he was, she dealt with it, hid it, covered it, allowed it, because she knew nothing else. He was all she knew. You understand what I'm saying? It's so damaging to the psyche that you literally fear what may happen if this person is no longer in your life. I don't want that for any of you. I don't. You have the moderate narcissists who, do what my narcs did. They get a hold on you. They try to use and abuse you as much as they can. They still do what they want. They disrespect you. I was watching another podcast of another self-aware narcissist who's currently in therapy doing his thing, but he's pretty much putting you on game as to how their minds work and how they're set up. And he said that, at some point throughout the relationship, they just stop loving you. I just don't love you anymore. It's like a switch. It just turns clean off. I don't care about it. And once they stop loving you, they stop caring about you, they stop respecting you. And they really treat you like garbage. They treat you however they want. And you didn't stop loving them. You don't have that same switch where it just turns off. You're still head over heels. You're still madly in love. You still feel how they made you feel about them when they love bombed the mess out of you and catered to you and loved up on you and bought you gifts and took you on trips and, flaunted you around to their family and friends and all the things. And then all of a sudden one day they just don't want to talk to you. They don't want to look at you. They don't want to make love to you. I would have sex with my narc and he would be soft. Just didn't even get hard for me no more. Like, just... Yeah, all right, you want it? Well, here, go ahead. Go ahead, have at it, whatever. And I was still so psychologically damaged, so in love, so enamored that even that soft penis was enough to get me off. Because that's how strong my feelings were for him. I don't care, you giving it to me, well, let's go. Because one thing Shakira always going to do is get hers. I'm going to get mine. I'm going to get mine. And so that's something else I had to throw away, because it's like, is it worth it though? Is it worth getting yours from somebody who don't even really want to give it to you? Same thing with my last narc. He act like he was always doing me a favor by giving me some sex. All right, you happy now? You good now? Are you saying that like you didn't want it and you not happy and you not good? Like, so like my stuff trash or something, like you didn't need it or want it at all, but since you wanted it, come on. Like, what? Y'all, these beings are really something to fear. You get in a relationship and you want to fear what would happen when you leave, but you need to fear what would happen if you allowed yourself to enter into one of these relationships. Please go back and watch my previous episodes of the red flags and the 6 early signs of what it looks like when you are dating a narcissistic person, somebody with NPD, narcissistic personality disorder. It is a disorder. Yes, we all have a healthy level of narcissism, because we're supposed to care about ourselves, love ourselves. The first time I told myself, Shakira, I love you, I cried. It felt weird. It felt crazy to me. Like, oh my God, I've never said that to myself. How could I ever expect anybody else to love me when I didn't even love myself? You have to love you. But please know and understand that there are unhealthy levels of this narcissistic trait. And if you witness this from somebody that you are trying to date, dating, in love with, married to, it is not in your best interest to stay with that individual. I promise you, it is not in your best interest. Yes, some cannot get out. They are stuck. They are intertwined. So I'm going to give you some tools that I've gotten from the research, that from the books that I've read and the documentaries and the podcasts that I've listened to. I'm going to pay that information forward. Yes, I am. So that you can at least be equipped with the tools that you need to navigate through these type of toxic relationships if you cannot get out. But if you can, I implore you to run for the hills, because there's no way around psychological damage happening. You will be getting hurt by this narc. They will be negatively affecting your life in some way, shape, or form. There's no way around it. I feel sorry for those who are stuck and can't get out. My heart bleeds for you all, because it is a very toxic and suffocating environment to be in. I know from experience, unfortunately. The ones that I hear that are really stuck, like the younger ones that are babies still in their 20s, I have abandonment issues. I just, once I love somebody, once I get to know somebody, once I'm in a relationship, I can't, the thought of not being with them makes them feel like they're suffocating and dying. They literally can't breathe. Like they're going to cry for days on end. They just will not be able to handle the weight of that person abandoning them. But when you know and understand how a narcissistic personality is set up, at some point you're going to be discarded. They're going to discard you like trash. You're going to be abandoned anyway. So why allow yourself to continue to be in a relationship with somebody who mistreats you and eventually is going to discard you? I beg you, don't do it. Don't do it. I would like to end this episode here. Please come back and watch part 2 of the 10 common patterns of trauma bonded relationships. I'd like to thank you so much for joining and tuning in. Until next time, please remember, you are guided, you are protected, and you are safe.